We have another A-lister that's joining us right now.
Wow.
That's
Impressive to be included in that list.
His name is Ed Eyestone, BYU track and field coach, former Olympian, former broadcaster as well. Coach, welcome to BYU Sports Nation. This is technically your debut on the set. So
happy to finally be here, man. I've been so excited to have this opportunity to come to BYU Sports Nation, so thank you.
You're welcome. What's better, being profiled on the Letterman show or being profiled on BYU Sports Nation?
Well, I don't know. Letterman's retiring, you know, so maybe most relevant is BYU Sports Nation.
Hey, we're just getting going.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about that experience. You go to Letterman, and there's some kind of inside joke because he references Coach.
Well, Well, what he does is every year, we've been there, going there the last 5 or 6 years. I have a woman that I just email every time we're coming out and say, hey, can you get us 20, 30 tickets or whatever? And she does the best to get some tickets. And over the years, I've just learned that he will come out and kind of warm up the audience a little bit before the show even takes place. And so he will usually tell a couple jokes, and then he will maybe ask a question. And if you happen to be sitting kind of in the front and you get that hand up really quick, then he may call on you. And so the last 2 years, I've been able to ask questions, and then he'll always, once the show starts, there's always kind of an inside joke. Well, he will reference that.
That was you.
Yeah, that was
Coach?
me. Yeah, Coach.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then it cuts to you. We're like, Ed Eyestone is on Letterman. That's awesome.
Well, actually, last year we were on as well, but it was he kind of goofed on me the entire show because he had asked, do we have any questions? I threw my hand up and I said, I made some question. He goes, what's your name? And then there was just a running joke of him going like this every time the show got slow. Is anybody out there? So it was good. My team actually had a great time with that. All season long. Anytime they wanted to kind of make fun of me, they'd go, Coach, we have a question for you. So
that's awesome.
It's a nice tradition, but I guess
Ed Eyestone is on BYU Sports Nation with us right now. The head coach of BYU Track and Field. Coach, you talked about your illustrious career, but I want to go back to something that happened at the Y Awards, and you kind of hinted that maybe Jamaal Williams could transition over and potentially help your team out. He's a dynamic athlete. We all know that. What's the possibility of Jamaal running track for BYU as well as playing football?
Well, obviously, when I came on board as the track coach here, that's one of the areas that I feel like we have some amazing athletes that play football for us. And if there was a possibility in working with Coach Mendenhall in getting some of those amazing athletes to come out and run track for us, that would be a great thing. Win-win is what we're looking for, and certainly we would never want to do anything to take away from football, but anything that we could do on the track side. And my sprint hurdle coach is Kyle Grossart, who has a history in working as the strength and conditioning guy with football. And so I think Coach Mendenhall has a comfort level with Coach Grossart, and so hopefully in the future we'll be able to see some of these athletes coming out. And obviously we had a meeting with Coach Mendenhall, and obviously we said that we realize that the priority is football, but if we have a young man who is doing well academically and is a responsible young man, and we can add some things on the track side, we would certainly love to see that. And actually we saw Jamaal out to practice for the first day just yesterday, and so we'll see how things go. And again, the number one priority, obviously, any track coach needs to be a big fan of
all the other
football
sports,
and particularly the football and the basketball programs.
Women's basketball as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Lexi.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, and Lexi is out for us again as well. 2 years ago, she was doing the high jump for us. Last year, she was rehabbing the knee. But 2 years ago, she, I believe, was the first athlete not to make it to the NCAA meet, championship meet. So she was right on the border there at the regional meet, and she's back. She's healthy, and she was doing a workout with our high jumpers yesterday as well. So it was kind of a homecoming of sorts for both Jamaal and Lexi yesterday. So, and we'll see how things go. We realize their priority is their main either football or basketball, but anything that we can do to help with that, we certainly would love to. And we have a great staff in place.
I'll give you the only selling point that you need. I used to be an Olympian. done. Like that's all you need.
2 times.
Exactly.
Not once, but twice.
Exactly.
Well, that's nice of you to say. I don't know that I'd be coaching directly with them that much because I don't think either of them wants to run the 10,000 meters or the 5,000 meters. Although they're such great athletes, they probably could do fine in that. But as I said, I have some great assistant coaches that are working in those areas, and I feel very confident that they can get the most out of any athlete.
So Jamaal Williams is on the track team.
He was out to practice yesterday, so
awesome.
Yes, and I'm hoping he has a great experience with that, and we're going to take it one day at a time. And coach, and obviously working with Coach Mendenhall, and as long as everybody's happy, we'd love to continue doing that.
Do you work him into a meet?
We would love to do that as well.
That's the point of practice, I guess, right?
I don't know that we like to practice just for the inherent joy of practicing, but yeah, would love to see him in a BYU Track uniform, and it's we'll see how these practices and workouts go. First of all, he needs to kind of establish himself as one of the faster guys, but I think he certainly has that capability. We've seen that talent on the football field, and I've got to believe there'd probably be a place for him in the 4x1 at the very least.
I'd love to see.
That would be fun to watch.
Well, yeah, it would be fun to watch, and again, we want to do what's best for Jamaal and what's best for BYU football, and if we can be an asset or an aid in that, then we would certainly love to do that, and it'd be good for us too. Like I say, win-win. Anytime you have great athletes out on the track and field team, it's going to help. It's going to help with. We're talking about it right now, aren't we?
We're talking about BYU Track and Field. Yeah,
exactly,
absolutely.
and that's so we'll just see how things pan out.
What's the current status of your program? I know that it's probably interesting to recruit a sport like track and field across the country, but you've been able to do it at a high level, and BYU has a great program. So what's the reasoning behind BYU's sustaining the high quality of athletes that are coming into the program?
Well, I think, first of all, obviously like any sport here at BYU, we have a pretty select pool that we're recruiting from. And if we can get out and do our very best with the top LDS athletes out there and get them, then we're going to year in, year out do very well, particularly in some of the event categories like the distance events. We've been blessed in that area. Our men's team has finished in the top. We were 4th, 6th, and 4th over the last 3 years in the men's cross country championships. So that's exciting. And success breeds success. Anytime you're winning championships or getting on the podium at the NCAA meet, then that just kind of feeds into itself and that whole winning mentality and whatnot. So we're fortunate there, and I think if we can continue to get their good recruits from there, we have to be on our toes. Just because we're BYU doesn't mean we're going to get the top LDS athlete. There are other schools out there that are realizing these can be some amazing athletes as well. And it's not only the LDS athlete that we're after. We're looking for, our criteria for recruiting someone is, are they fast and can they live the honor code? And, obviously the LDS athlete usually falls a little easier in that, but we have some great people from other belief systems that have come on board, have done great and contributed to the team, and we'll continue to look for the top athletes.
Ed Eyestone is on BYU Sports Nation. I've since moved from Provo, but when I lived in Provo, the biggest driving hazard that I noticed was not deer, but it was the men's cross country team or the distance runners. Around town, always in the morning. These guys are awesome. They stick to it. How much do you want you guys to run per week, and how much do you still run?
Well, it depends on the athlete. I get some that are running as little as 60 miles a week, and some
as
that are
little
as little
as 60 miles.
Well, some that I know that sounds like not much, but some going close to 100 miles a week.
Wow.
And then I'll have some 800-meter guys who are more 4.8 guy, and maybe they're doing 30 or 40 miles a week. But generally, if they're 1,500 meters on up, they're doing at least 60 miles a week.
And you?
Yeah, that's not as much anymore. I'm more like an 800-meter runner these days. I do about 30 miles a week, maybe 5 miles. If I can get my 5 miles in a day, then I feel like I can eat lasagna without
I don't even know you anymore, Coach.
I know.
5 miles a day.
I've let it go. But
when was the last time you ran 5 miles ever, Jerem?
5 miles ever? On the basketball court, like Reggie Miller. I'm just running around everywhere. No, it's maybe 1 mile or something. I don't know.
That's unbelievable.
No, that's amazing.
Ed Eyestone, BYU Track and Field coach on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan.
Now, wait a minute. I want to bring something up. I ran cross country in high school. I finished 55th in 5A my junior year.
Really?
I did not get a letter from BYU.
No, really? Well, we have a cutoff point.
At Copper Hills in West Jordan. I finished 3rd on my team. Yeah, no, I was terrible.
Yeah. sometimes there's a diamond in the rough. It sounds like you were very rough.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That is the kindest way that you can possibly put that.
Coach, I didn't go to practice at all.
Yeah. As I was saying, Ed Eyestone, BYU Track and Field coach on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan. How have you been able to draw from your Olympic experiences and just your experience as a runner in general to use as a coach and as a motivator for the athletes that you work with?
Well, I'm not. Obviously, I had a lot of years of experience. I competed at BYU, and then I had 15, 17 years competing as a professional athlete. And so, as I was getting to be about 40 years of age, it was like, okay, now what am I going to do for a real job? And fortunately, there was a position here at BYU, and it's been a great union, I think, for the last 14 years, at least from my part. So I think there are just some inherent things that you pick up over the years when you do it as a profession. One is just the basic training, physiology involved and required to run at a top level. And I think that at least early on my coaching career, I think the guys could see that not only could I talk the talk, but I could walk the walk in terms of those first few years. I would run the workouts, the interval workouts, the tempo runs, so whatever it was, the long runs with the guys, and have the stopwatch in my hand, finish the interval, and then turn around as they came across the line. And obviously I don't do that any longer, but I just think that knowing that I've had that experience to draw from, if I come up with a workout or something, they'll kind of, I don't think there's that questioning, like, do you know what you're talking about? But having said that, I don't think just because someone has been we see many, many examples in all the sports of people who have been athletes and then transitioned to coaching, and just because they were above average athlete doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be an above average coach. I think it takes and that's the first thing I said in one of my first team meetings with the team. I said, hey, it's not about me anymore. I've been there, done that, and the older I get, the less I can do what I'm asking you guys to do. But hopefully, I've been able to acquire the skills to be
pay
a good
the bills.
Coach. Yeah, exactly.
Ed Eyestone is on BYU Sports Nation. Really big meet this weekend, Mount Sac Relays. Tell us about that.
That's
in
huge.
Walnut, California.
Yeah, it's huge for us, particularly the distance segment of our the distance categories in our track and field team. It's Mount Sac traditionally has always been a great place to run fast, and so I'll be taking on the men's side about 16 athletes and about 15, 16 athletes on the women's side as well in the distance events, and they'll be running, trying to hit their regional qualifying marks. The way that NCAA works now, particularly with us being without a conference, is all the focus is towards the Western Regional meet, which is basically the first round of the NCAA championships. And so there are times that, and the way that you do that is you need to be in the top 48 in the West region to make it to the first round of the NCAAs. Right. And so going off past year's 48th time or 48th mark, we're able to know more or less the time or distance required to make it to that first round of the NCAAs. And so that's kind of been the focus for the team this year. Currently, we have 31 regional qualifiers, and we have a team goal of trying to hit 50 by the time the regionals take place in the end of May, and that's what we're working towards.
Okay. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Before you go, we want your autograph.
Wow. This is big time.
I think you're the first Olympian to sign this. Okay. Have we had an Olympian sign this? I don't think
really?
So. By the way,
we're still waiting for Kate Hansen, the Lushkook.
We need like a baton or a javelin or a hammer or something to put on this set. We don't know what to put with track and field.
Most definitely.
Can we figure that out?
Yeah, maybe we can get an old hammer, send that up a disc.